Good evening, everyone. This is Patrick with Comics and Collectibles, and I know it's been a while since you have seen this view right here. That is because I have been in my garage for maybe 3 months. This is the first week of July. I started my life size Carnage project sometime in March, so it's been a minute. But for those who have not been a long time viewer of the channel, this is my normal working space. And let me say this also for the folks who are not familiar with the channel. You will see a lot of clutter, and normally I am more organized and not so messy. But the reason it looks like this is because I am very limited on space for my stuff. I do, and this is a plug for those who collect comics, I do have a room with a lot of space, a lot of shelf space. However, that space is filled with comics. So if you are a comic book collector, please leave a comment. Let me know. Let's talk. I'm trying to sell those things so I can make more space for my statues. All right. So let's get down to it. Hopefully you can see the objects or the subject of my video, and hopefully you can disregard all the clutter in the back, but I have nowhere to put it. Okay, so much for that. All right, what I want to talk about today, folks, is some issues, problems, and some issues and problems I have had with some of my 3D models. And let's start with this one right here. This was, oh, hold on, before I get into it, let me say this. These are really old. Probably around a year old or more, yeah, for each one of the three that I'm talking about here. So maybe age has a little bit to do with it. I don't really know a whole bunch about 3D model material or printing material, whatever you call it. I guess resin or whatever type of material that's used for 3D printing. I'm not really familiar with it, so maybe there's some materials that just aren't made to last long, or maybe they are not very, or maybe they can't withstand a lot of heat. I'm searching for the right words here. So let's get into this one first. This is a Buccaneer, and if you are familiar with board games or video games or some type of game, you probably recognize this character. He's some type of Buccaneer pirate looking character. Don't know his name. But anyway, I had this up on a shelf in that back room that I mentioned a while ago with all the comics. And luckily it was not standing on top of any comics, because it could have ruined them. And let me explain what I'm talking about. As you can see, it has some, hold on, some things never change, folks. Let me get a pointer. As you can see, it has a bunch of cracks and gaping holes in it right here. Let's flip it over. There's another view of that hole right there. All right, and this is the head. Again, you can see that's a big crack there. I'm trying to get it in the light. My lighting situation is not the best. Again, some things never change. I'm still working on it though, folks. There's another crack right across his face. And that's it. So let me explain what happened with this, or what I think happened. This was sitting up on a shelf, maybe 5 or 6 feet off the floor. The floor is carpeted, so I don't think the impact with the floor had anything to do with the condition of this figure. It's been sitting on that shelf for maybe 3-4 months. I went into that room a few days ago and I found it on the floor. And I was trying to figure out how it got onto the floor. After looking at it, examining the parts, I deduced that this thing cracked. I don't know why it cracked. And once it cracked right here, all this weight made it fall down. And the head was glued on. As a matter of fact, all of the parts are glued together. This 3D model has maybe 6 or 7 parts, and they were all glued together. And I think I used hot glue. I'm sure I used hot glue. I don't remember. And once it hit the floor, as you can see, the glue did not hold it together. Now, one more thing. There was some type of liquid. My question is, what type of liquid is used to make these 3D models? Because I'm sure it was not the hot glue. Hot glue will melt if it gets hot enough, but it was not that hot. So it was some type of liquid material. So my question is, what type of material is used? It was kind of oily. And is it normal for some of that to remain in the 3D model once it's printed? I know that 3D artists, they put holes into the 3D models so that they can drain that liquid out. I don't know, is it resin? Not sure. So they can drain it out. So maybe I'm thinking some of it got caught up in here and it just stayed. Maybe it expanded. I don't know. Question mark. And that made it crack. And then it just came apart and hit the floor. All right. So again, if you can answer those questions for me, I'd appreciate it. All right. And let's move on to the next one. Now, this one here, get off. I have talked about this one before, but I wanted to just bring it to your attention again. And it's doing fine. There's no problem with this one. I just want to point out some things. Now, this one did crack several months ago, but I think that was because of me. I think I did it, and I'm about to drop it. I think I had put too much baking soda, or I don't know if I used baking soda or plaster of Paris in here, but I'm thinking maybe I put too much and it expanded and it cracked it. But I just want to let everyone know that I did replace that baking soda with some hot glue, and it's doing fine right now. No more cracks in it, and I think that it's going to work. I put the hot glue in to hold things together in case it started cracking again, but fortunately it has not started cracking. So maybe the hot glue is keeping everything together. I don't really know. I'll give it more time. That's an old crack that I repaired right there. So that is doing good. But I'm pointing all these things out, folks, to let you know that expect some issues or problems with some of your 3D models. It's not a perfect science, so there may be some problems, and it's not a big problem for me. I am trying to train myself to do repairs on 3D models and statues. So whenever something breaks, cracks, or falls apart, that's a challenge for me to try to figure out a way to fix it. So just keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about something that really grinds my gears. I don't know. Okay, something that just really irritates me and pisses me off. Okay, this one right here. I purchased this probably 2 years ago. The seller advertised it on eBay as resin. However, he did not point out that this thing is completely hollow, folks. And the skin is probably just, it's paper thin. Maybe, you know what? Maybe cardboard, maybe index card thin. It is really thin and it's very soft, or it was until I filled it with, I think I used baking soda to fill it in. And I think because it is paper thin, I'm having problems with it. You can see some of my, hold on, let me get my pointer. You can see some of my handiwork here. This is clay. This is air dry clay right here. I use that to try to reinforce it and to give the foot a platform to stand on. Right here, that's plastic right there. I need to remove it. I have filled, there's a hole right here where the foot inserts into the hole. There's a peg on the foot and inserts in the hole to support it. And this entire thing is hollow. And again, folks, paper thin. And I'm getting to the point. Just let me point all this stuff out to you first. Okay, now maybe I caused some of this when I added the baking soda to this, and that gave it some weight. And if you can see, it is leaning to this side right here. Over the last 6, 7, or 8 months, this thing has leaned either to that side or this side. What I would do to correct that is there's a metal rod that was in the foot that went into here. I would bend that metal rod accordingly to try to adjust it to whichever side it had to go to. A couple of weeks ago, I found it leaning again. So I put in a longer metal rod, a stiffer rod, and that rod probably goes down to here somewhere, and it at least goes up to, let me get my pointer right, at least goes up to here. And you probably take two, you can probably see the crack right there where the metal rod was starting to poke out. And even though I put that rod in, it's still leaning. And so what I'm going to do next to correct this is drain all of the baking soda out of this thing, fill it with hot glue, which will make it more, I guess sturdy is the word I'm looking for, make this thing more sturdy, and hopefully that will keep it from bending. Because if you can see it, this thing right here is slowly bending, and if I gave it a little time, probably 6 or 7 months, this thing would be, and I'm talking about the base, this base would be leaning over a lot more, and this statue would also be leaning because it's going with the base. So I'm going to do that, try to correct this one more time. All right, so I just want to talk about those few things. I do have I do have a lot more new content coming up, folks, so please stay with me. I know I've been promising and talking about doing a lot of stuff, and I'm getting around to it. I know I've talked about this for over a year, and it's coming. That one right there, that is part of my mini colored land series of figures and statues I'm doing. That one is coming. Let me see. I don't know if I've even did an overview on this one, but that's coming also. I have a lot coming up, folks, so make sure you stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting the channel. Bye. Okay, you know the deal. I got to get that thumbnail. Let me see. Again, thanks, folks. Bye.